Dragon of Icespire Peak. Gnomengarde. Gnomengarde is balanced for characters of first level, though characters of second level might find certain traps and hazards challenging. Characters of third level or higher should be able to deal with the unexpected trouble here and get what they need from the rock gnomes without having to expend many resources, though the role-playing in the quest should be fun regardless. Location Overview. The caves of Gnomengarde are carved into the base of a mountain southeast of Phandalin around a narrow waterfall. The rock gnome wizards who occupy these caves form strategic alliances with their human and dwarf neighbours as needs warrant. Reclusive and secretive, the gnomes craft minor magic items and useful non-magic inventions to pass the time. In these endeavours, their failures outnumber their successes. They seldom stray far from home, subsisting largely on the mushrooms that grow on misty islands outside their caves. Gnomengarde has two married kings who rule in tandem, Nerkli and Korboz. Korboz recently lost his mine and is keeping Nerkli as his prisoner. Their subjects don't understand the nature of Korboz's affliction, and they are at a loss as to what to do. They wish no harm to befall either king, but they acknowledge that Korboz has become a danger to himself and others. In addition to the danger posed by the Mad King, two gnomes have mysteriously vanished from within the last 10 days. No one except King Korboz knows that the shape-changing monster, a mimic, has crept into Gnomengarde and is feeding on the gnomes, changing its appearance as it makes its way through the complex. Korboz was attacked and almost killed by the creature, with that event inspiring his madness. He has sequestered himself and his beloved Nerkli in their quarters because he doesn't want the monstrous shape-changer to devour them. Korboz hopes the creature will tire of eating gnomes and leave. Providing Korboz with evidence of the mimic's demise restores his sanity. Gnomengarde Features. Gnomengarde caves are hewn from solid rock and share the following features. Ceilings. Ceilings throughout are 7 feet high and flat. Doors. Normal doors are made of wood fitted with rusty iron handles and hinges. A locked door can be opened with a successful DC-10 dexterity check using thieves' tools. A locked door can be forced open as an action with a successful DC-15 strength athletics check. Secret doors are made of stone and blend in with the surrounding stonework. Finding a secret door requires a search of the wall and a successful DC-10 Wisdom Perception check. Light. All caves are illuminated by hanging oil lanterns attached to rope and pulley mechanisms that make it easy for gnomes to lower the lanterns and refill them with oil. Waterfall. The caves of Gnomengarde echo with the roar of a nearby waterfall. The sound is so loud that gnomes and visitors must shout to be heard, unless there's a closed door between them and the waterfall. Quest Goals. To complete the Gnomengarde quest, the characters must obtain at least one magic item from the gnomes. Of the items they can secure, only the Hat of Wizardry interests the townmaster Harben Wester, who offers to buy it for 50 gold pieces, even though he knows no one who can attune to it. However, the gnomes won't hand over any magic items until the characters speak to Fibblestip and Dabbledob in Area G11. Gnome-Made magic items. If the characters rescue Nerkli and end Korboz's madness, the grateful gnomes give them a clockwork amulet and a pole of collapsing from Area G13. The characters also receive a gift from each king, a wand of pyrotechnics from Nerkli and a hat of wizardry from Korboz. Give the players the clockwork amulet, hat of wizardry, pole of collapsing, and wand of pyrotechnic cards as their characters obtain and identify each item, or they can reference them in the magic items listing. Arrival. A stream leads the characters to a pool fed by a waterfall that tumbles down the mountainside. Describe Gnomengarde's location as follows. You follow a stream up to the base of a mountain, where the waterfall erosion has carved out a natural concavity. The roaring waterfall creates a cloud of mist as it plunges into a shallow pool of water, within which rise 2 small islands covered with 2-foot tall red, green, and purple mushrooms. Several cave openings overlook the pool from rocky ledges, 20 to 30 feet above. The mountain blocks any sunlight from reaching this place. Gnomengarde has 5 cave entrances perched atop ledges with sheer rocky slopes. Climbing to a cave requires a successful DC 13 Strength Athletics check. A narrow footpath ascends the northeast slope, making it an easy climb to that cave entrance without a check. Gnomengarde Roster. 20 rock gnome recluses dwell in Gnomengarde, including King Nerkli and King Corboz. The gnomes' names and locations are described in the Gnomengarde Locations section. Mystery Monster. There used to be 22 gnomes living in the caves, but a mimic devoured 2 gnomes, named Orin and Warren, in the past 10 day. The creature is currently disguised as a barrel in Area G8, but it will devour more gnomes once its hunger returns unless it's dealt with. It can move around and adopt other disguises as needed, though its forms are limited to medium objects such as chairs, large chests, lecterns, and weird gnomish inventions of the mimic's size and mass. The mimic can also disguise itself as a door, a false section of wall, or a rocky bulge on the floor. After speaking to Corboz and learning about the presence of a shape-changing monster, the character's primary goal should be to find and slay the creature. When it attacked Corboz, it looked like a 10-foot square rug in the throne room of Area G14, but it has since moved elsewhere and changed its appearance. If pressed, the rock gnomes help the characters find the mimic by poking objects with non-magical wands to see if they fight back. The gnomes aren't adventurers, however, and they flee at the first sign of danger, real or imagined. The mimic completely devours and dissolves its victims, leaving no trace behind and relocating after each kill. It won't leave Gnomengarde of its own accord, as it's taken a liking to the taste of gnome flesh. If you want a more interesting antagonist, make the mimic one of the rare varieties that can carry on simple conversations in common. Characters who corner the talking mimic can negotiate with it and compel it to leave Gnomengarde with a successful DC 15 Charisma Intimidation or Persuasion check. Wild Magic. Wild magic is a kind of magic that can't be controlled, and Gnomengarde has long been a source of it. When a creature anywhere on the Gnomengarde map expends a spell slot to cast a spell of first level or higher, an additional effect might occur. Roll a d20 and consult the following table to determine the effect, if any. This wild magic effect lasts for 1 hour, or until ended with a remove curse spell or similar magic. Wild magic effect table. Roll a d20. On a result of 1 to 6, nothing happens. On a result of 7 to 10, the caster's skin turns a vibrant shade of blue. On a result of 11 to 14, tiny insubstantial motes of light circle the caster, shedding bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. On a result of 15 to 17, the caster sprouts wings like those of a butterfly. The wings give the caster a flying speed of 30 feet. On a result of 18 to 19, the caster teleports 60 feet to a random unoccupied space of the DM's choice. On the result of a 20, it is a whimsical effect of the Dungeon Master's invention. Gnomengarde Locations. The following locations are keyed to the map of Gnomengarde. Area G1, Misty Pool and Mushroom Islands. The gnomes subsist on 2-foot-tall mushrooms that grow atop 2 small islands in the middle of this 3-foot-deep pool. The islands are perpetually shrouded in mist from the waterfall. Magic bestowed upon the islands by Gnomengarde's first settlers caused the mushrooms to grow to abnormally large size. This same magic is the source of Gnomengarde's wild magic as described previously. The mushrooms come in 3 colors. Red mushrooms provide oil that the gnomes use to fuel their lanterns and other mechanical devices. Green mushrooms are ground into flour and used to make tasty green bread. Purple mushrooms are crushed and fermented to make mushroom wine, which tastes as good as it sounds. Area G2, Waterfall and Rope Bridge. The waterfall plunges 60 feet, its mist slightly obscuring a 35-foot long rope bridge firmly anchored to 20-foot high ledges. The bridge is difficult terrain as described in the rulebook, and sags so that its midpoint is only 15 feet above the water. A creature that falls or jumps from the bridge takes no damage if it lands in the water, which is 5 feet deep in the area below the bridge. The bridge has an armor class of 11, with 30 hit points and immunity to poison and psychic damage. The barrel crab contraptions in Area G6 are too clumsy to cross the bridge without getting tangled in its ropes. Area G3, Dining Room. This room contains several dining tables and chairs sized for small folk. A stout wooden cabinet against the east wall holds tin dishware and utensils. Area G4, Kitchen. This kitchen is furnished with gnomes in mind, so everything is either close to the floor or readily reachable by tugging on an overly complicated rope pulley mechanism. 5 rock gnome recluses busy themselves here. Joybell, female, uses a poker to stoke the fire of a hot iron stove standing against the east wall. Dimble, male, uses a complicated press like a contraption to squeeze oil out of a big red mushroom and filter the liquid into 4 oil flasks. Panana, female, stands atop a low table and uses a mechanical rolling pin contraption to knead green bread dough. The severed caps of several big green mushrooms are set around her. Up and Down, male, forms the dough into loaves of green bread, his tongue sticking out as he carefully shapes each loaf like a master sculptor. Turvaround, female, teeters on a stool as she stuffs a big purple mushroom into a barrel so that it can ferment and be turned into mushroom wine. Characters who question the gnomes are urged to speak with Fibblestip or Dabbledob in the workshop in Area G11, as they know more about what's going on than any other gnomes in the complex. These gnomes won't leave the kitchen, but they can point characters in the right direction. The gnomes avoid talking about the missing gnomes or Mad King Corboz. Area G5, Pantry. This room is piled high with small wooden crates. Each contain loaves of green mushroom bread and other foodstuffs collected and kept by the gnomes. Area G6, Barrel Crabs. Parked in alcoves in this otherwise empty room are 2 gnomish contraptions. Each resembles a crab with a barrel for a shell, 6 articulated metal legs, and a pair of forward-facing pincer claws. A hatch on the top of each barrel opens to reveal an interior compartment equipped with a small leather-padded seat surrounded by levers, pedals, and gears. The barrels are not airtight. The gnomes built these crab-like contraptions to grip and move other objects, rather like crude forklifts. However, the contraptions are so clumsy that they are useless for delicate work. They are just small enough to navigate Gnomengarde's 5-foot wide passageways. Each barrel crab is a large object with an armor class of 15, 30 hit points, a strength score of 10, and immunity to poison and psychic damage. It is designed to hold a single small humanoid, though a medium humanoid can fit inside with some discomfort. While in the barrel with the hatch closed, a creature has total cover against attacks from outside the contraption. It can use its action to make the contraption scuttle across the ground at a walking speed of 15 feet, or make one attack with its pincer claws. Area G7, Autoloading Crossbow Platform. Bolted to the floor of this room is a rotating platform equipped with 4 heavy crossbows that reload automatically. Each crossbow comes with 20 bolts. Mounted above the crossbows at a height of 6 feet is a chair equipped with pedals that cause the entire contraption to spin counterclockwise, and with levers that reload and fire the crossbows. This clanking, clattering contraption is a large object with an armor class of 13, 45 hit points, and immunity to poison and psychic damage. Every time it loses 10 hit points, one of its crossbows break. A creature sitting in the chair can use an action to rotate the device up to 360 degrees clockwise and fire up to 2 of its crossbows in any direction. Each crossbow makes the following attack. A heavy crossbow, ranged weapon attack with +5 to hit, at a range of 50 to 200 feet. 1 target. If it hits, it deals 5 or 1d10 piercing damage. Sitting in the chair when the characters first enter the area is the device's inventor, a rock gnome recluse named Factoray. When she sees strangers, Factoray decides to test out the contraption on them. She stands down only when she or her contraptions cease to function, or when she can no longer see any targets. Being deranged and utterly consumed by her work, she can barely string together a cohesive sentence, let alone advise visitors on where to go or whom to talk to. Area G8, Mimic and Mushroom Wine. This room contains 12 40-gallon barrels set into wide alcoves. Each barrel is secured by a wooden brace. The barrels in the south alcove have been tapped with wooden spigots. 2 of those barrels are half full, and 2 are nearly empty. 7 of the 8 barrels in the north and east alcoves are untapped and full of mushroom wine. The 8th barrel is the Mimic. You can decide where the Mimic is, or roll a 1d8 to randomly determine which barrel is the fake one. See Mysterious Monster for more information on the Mimic and its behaviour when discovered. Area G9, Gnomengarde Post. Mist from the waterfall dampens this empty cave, which has a 10-foot high ledge overlooking it to the south. The ledge can be reached by following the curved tunnel to the east, or by scaling the slick rock wall with a successful DC 12 Strength Athletics check. 2 rock gnome recluses stand on the ledge, a female named Ula and a male named Pog. When anyone enters the cave, Ula calls out, "Who goes there?" in Gnomish, and then Pog repeats the question in Common. Their orders are to attack shape changers on sight. Since anyone might be a shape changer, they attack anyone who can't prove they are who they claim to be. Characters who don't want to be attacked must succeed on one of the following checks. A DC 10 Charisma Deception check to trick the gnomes into thinking the characters have an audience with the Kings of Gnomengarde. A DC 10 Charisma Intimidation check to scare the gnomes into thinking that any harm visited upon the characters will result in Gnomengarde's destruction. A DC 10 Charisma Persuasion check to convince the gnomes that the characters can't be shape changers, as shape changers would surely take less conspicuous forms. Area G10, Spinning Blades. This area is lightly obscured by mist from the waterfall. The large eastern part of the room contains 2 rapidly spinning devices that look like turnstiles fitted with stacks of long sharp blades spaced 1 foot apart. The northern turnstile spins counterclockwise, while the southern one spins clockwise. Any creature that enters or starts its turn in the eastern part of the room while the blades are spinning must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw, taking 18 or 4d8 slashing damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Set into the southern wall of the smaller western part of the room is a brass lever in the down position. Pulling the lever up causes the turnstiles to stop spinning, allowing safe passage through the chamber. The rock gnomes bypass this trap by using the Mage Hand cantrip to move the lever from the east doorway. Area G11, Inventors Workshop. As the characters approach this area, they overhear an argument in Gnomish between 2 rock gnome recluses, a male named Fibblestib and a female named Dabbledob. As the Gnomengarde's foremost inventors, they are trying to dream up an invention that will cure King Corboz's madness. Fibblestib's proposal is a sanity ray. Dabbledob thinks that's dumb and wants to build something called a straitjacket instead. If the characters interrupt them, the gnomes realize that the new arrivals might have another solution, so they fill in what's been happening and ask for any advice on how they might cure Corboz and rescue King Nurkly. Fibblestib and Dabbledob consider the mystery of the vanishing gnomes of secondary importance to their mission of aiding the kings. They focus on Corboz and Nurkly to the exclusion of all else, promising magical rewards in exchange for aid, as described in the Gnome Magic Made items. The workshop is cluttered with half-complete gnomish inventions that serve no purpose, as well as work tables strewn with tinkerer's tools. A 10-foot high ledge overlooks the room, set with wooden pedestals on which sits a leather-bound book. Treasure. The book on the pedestal is a spell book that the rock gnomes of Gnomengarde share. Its cover describes its title as Magic of Gnomengarde in Common and Gnomish. It contains the wizard spells Burning Hands, Detect Magic, Identify, Mage Armor, Magic Missile, Shield, and Sleep. Area G12, Gnome Domiciles. The floor of this cave is strewn with the remnants of old campfires. 4 side caves serve as sleeping areas, with 5 small wooden cots crammed into each one. 8 rock gnome recluses sleep soundly here when the characters first arrive, with 2 gnomes in each side cave. Karamip, Jabby, Nyx, and Quippy, females, and Averth, Delabine, Palabar, and Zook, males. Characters can move through the area without waking the sleeping gnomes, who defend themselves if attacked, but pose no danger otherwise. They avoid talking about the recent troubles, but advise visitors to speak with Fibblestib and Dabbledob in Area G11, Gnomengarde's 2 most gifted rock gnome inventors. Area G13, Treasury. The door to this room is locked, and Fibblestib and Dabbledob in Area G11 carry the keys. The room contains a jumble of non-functional gnomish gizmos, as well as loose gears, twisted bits of metal, and other scraps that gnomes use to cobble together new inventions. Treasure. Amid the clutter, the characters can find a clockwork amulet and a pole of collapsing, most easily by scanning the room with a detect magic spell. Otherwise it takes 1 hour to find each item. Give the players the clockwork amulet and pole of collapsing cards if their characters acquire and identify these magic items, or they can reference them in the magic items listing. Area G14, Throne Room. Situated atop a stone dais are 2 squat thrones made of scrap metal and sized for gnomes. A secret door in the north wall conceals a short tunnel leading to Area G15. Only the Gnome Kings know of this secret passage. Area G15, Gnome King's Bedroom. King Korboz has locked himself and King Nurkly in their bedroom, forgetting that there's a secret door that others could find and use to gain entry. Only Korboz and Nurkly have keys to the locked main door. If the characters knock on the door or otherwise announce their arrival, Korboz speaks to them from inside the room and warns them of a shape changer in their midst. Korboz doesn't regain his senses until the characters assure him that the monster has been found and killed. Whether the mimic is truly killed or not, convincing Korboz that it's dead requires a successful DC 12 Charisma Persuasion check. Korboz and Nurkly are rock gnome recluses, each wearing a jagged metal crown and a patchwork cloak. Nurkly is glued to a chair and restrained. Korboz carries a flask of solvent that dissolves the glue on contact. Their room contains all the trappings of a nicely appointed gnome bedroom. Treasure. A small unlocked chest under the gnome's bed contains a hat of wizardry and a fully charged wand of pyrotechnics. Give the players the hat of wizardry and wand of pyrotechnics card if their characters acquire and identify these magic items, or they can reference them in the magic items listing.